She's the regional chair of the PCS. PCS have been leading the way in many respects on challenging the government's attack on working people and importantly making the argument for the economic alternative that does exist as an alternative to wholesale public sector cuts. Thank you, Sian.
Thank you very much for inviting me. Well, today the 30th Union declared that they will be taking strike action next Wednesday. And although in the main unions are taking strike action to defend pensions and a fair pension for all, whether public or private sector. And when we say public and private, we're saying that everybody in this country is entitled to dignity in retirement and sufficient to live on in a reasonable standard. But that won't be if this government gets its way. PCS balloted earlier in this year on the issue of our pensions, but also pay and job cuts. Because job cuts in the civil service and public sector equal cuts in services. However, I believe this strike is about far more than our pensions and our pay. It's about fighting back against a government that seeks to depress and oppress the working class and reward themselves and the bankers and big businesses, the richest 1% in society. When they talk about gold-plated pensions of civil servants, the average PCS member gets a pension of £4,200 a year, which equates to £80 per week. With a basic state pension of £102, that equals £182 in retirement, which is £4 per week over the government's official poverty level of £178 per week. If our pensions are cut, if we're having to pay more into it, then it places the average civil servant, the average PCS member in poverty. And although the government sort of said, oh yes, there may be an improved offer, this still would mean the average PCS member would pay an extra £63 a month, lose 15 to 20% of the value of their pension, work 8 years longer. However, if you look at Francis Maud, he gets over £731,000 in his pension. Yet, what they've said in the Hutton report, they have actually stated that our pensions are sustainable, they are affordable. And our increased contributions are not going into our pension pot or anything like that. They're going to the Treasury to pay for the deficit. You, myself, and the members in PCS and all the members in our union didn't create that deficit. The crisis was caused by the banks, big business, and this government and their friends. And they're the ones who are not suffering. In the last 40 years, their pay has increased by 4,000%, whereas ours has increased by 135%. Obscene amounts are still being paid out in bonuses. The head of Barclays gets over £4 million a year. And you're talking about me personally, I am a civil servant, I am somebody who's working. I am in my 5th year as a pay freeze. They're talking about another 2 years possibly as a pay freeze. Yet he gets over £4 million. Cuts aren't affecting this government and the rich. In fact, the richest 1% are getting richer in this period. The government are attacking us, and they're attacking this strike on a daily basis. You're hearing lots of lies upon lies that are coming out. There's so much pressure on people taking action next week. I had members coming up to me to complain this morning because they're being asked, management are going around with a questionnaire saying, what are you doing on the 30th? Are you going out on strike? Are you coming in? If you're coming in, what job are you prepared to do? And then there's one answer, which apparently they're all filling in, it's none of your business. We're trying to put a list. We banned them having flying tickets, but they're having flying managers. So the list of managers, officers they're being allocated to, because what they can do is they stand there at the door with about 4 security guards and go, sorry, we're closed. But they declare that as an open office, which is very bizarre. So they're also recalling or asking civil servants who work abroad or in embassies to fly back to check passports next Wednesday. So I don't know how cost effective that's going to be. But I'll tell you what, if you're thinking of bringing anything dodgy into the country, bring it in next Wednesday. and it's showing how desperate they are to break the strike. But there is an alternative. I mean, PCS produced a booklet, which I'm sure everybody's seen rather than put it down there. Other users produced a booklet showing what there is an alternative, starting with getting back to 120 billion that's avoided in the vein.
Absolutely.
Creating jobs. If we create jobs in the building sector, we create jobs in green, on green issues, then creating jobs creates wealth. And the amount of public sector jobs that are currently being lost is obscene. And obviously job loss is cutting services. And the announcement we had yesterday of the closure of 8 Coast Guard stations. I personally thought this country was still actually an island, perhaps Coast Guard stations were necessary. But no, they can save money, they can close 8 Coast Guard stations and actually site a centre in Fairham. I thought actually wasn't really biting through. And in the last quarter, over 26,000 NHS jobs have been lost. 4,000 jobs have been lost in education. These are frontline jobs. We've seen the closure of nursing homes, nurseries, connections offices, youth clubs, play centres, facilities that are used by us, that are vital to our communities. We've seen the demonisation of the unemployed. The unemployed are work shy. The fact is there's no jobs that's irrelevant, they're just work shy, aren't they? Disabled. Well, disabled people aren't really sick, they're just scrounging. And young people. The government is condemning a whole generation to food scrapping. We've seen the loss of EMA, the money that universities want to charge in fees. And we've currently got the work experience. And people see last week about how they've employed some young people on work experience in Townland, leading up to Christmas. Well, every year at Christmas, shops do take on temporary staff, but they actually pay them. But this year, hey, they don't have to. They can take on young people, not pay them anything, which to me is classed as slave labour. I, along with Joe, that was released the thing last Saturday, and yes, we did have a response. We did have one or two sort of saying that, you know, private and public, which ironically actually they're both public sector workers or a public sector pensioner. But I also had a pensioner that came up, and one of the sister unions had a poster showing Cameron, Clegg and Osborne. So she pointed it, she said, well, I like that. And I was thinking, oh, crikey, what is she going to say? And then she said, see that smarmy plastic face at the end? I want to see a bullet hole, just there. We're not actually advocating that. She did follow on with something which I do advocate. She turned around, about time people are standing up. Good on the lot of you, you're fighting back. And this is a fight back. It's a fight back against the government that has the ideology, public bad, private good. That decent pay and pensions for everyone is bad. Obscene profits and pay for obscene pay for a few is good. That wants to create a Victorian-style society where a few hold all the wealth and power and the majority are treated as being too poor and downtrodden to retaliate. So this strike next week is not about pensions or pay. This is bigger because this is the start of a fight back against this government and their super rich friends. This is about defending all of us, whether working, whether unemployed, whether we're sick, young, disabled or old. All of us deserve a decent life. Our children are the future, they are the future. Next Wednesday, please support us. Please come on the picket lines. There will be picket lines all over the city. And please come to the rally. We're attending at Lionel Street Car Park. We're marching through town, whether the council likes it or not, but we are marching through town and we're finishing at the NIA. Please show your support because this isn't our fight back, it's everyone's fight back.